Dear friends of the Sudanese Programme, welcome back for our third and last session today. This session is slightly shorter than the previous ones. That's, of course, because in good Oxford fashion, we do not want the refreshments that are awaiting us afterwards to become too warm. I noticed that I should have perhaps introduced myself. My name is Laurent Mignon. I'm a fellow of the Middle East Center here at St. Antony's College. So we will have three speakers. Each speaker will speak for about 20 minutes, but we have a slight change in the program. We will first have the Right Reverend Bishop Emeritus Enoch Tombe speaking. That's because of the time difference. Please, Reverend, we are listening to you. And I was told, very importantly, that I should give you the greetings of Santino Loro from Manchester.
Thank you very much. Also, you greet Dr. Ahmed. I hope he's there. Thank you for the opportunity for me to speak, and especially on the Tumaini Initiative, which have been given some attention in this forum. I hope you had got my outline.
Yes, we do.
I want to start as a religious person with a quotation from the Bible, John chapter 8, verse 31 to 32, about the truth. Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." That is what I'm going to say, to tell you the truth about Tumaini, about the peace process. Those charts will help explain 2 points, the relation between Tumaini and R-axis, and then the timeline of the peace project, which is elite-driven. You know, most of you have said this is top-down, which I agree. And the question now is how to make it bottom-up. So I will refer you to the book by Professor John Paul Ledrek. He written a book about that, bottom-up approach, so that the two meet in the middle. So I don't need to waste time on that. You have given the background, so I want to go straight to some of the points which have not been covered. For example, the relation between R-axis or Tumaini and R-axis. There are questions: is it going to be an annex? Is it going to be aligned? Is it going to be roadmap or what? So if you can show now the project plan cycle, just to show you how I have conceptualized it. It's just to give you a technical, because I don't want to be involved in politics. This is how technically I've understood it, because I've been here. This is going to be my 6th month. So I'm an insider. I'm not just observing from outside. So you can see the arrow of the arc is 2015, which collapsed because there was outbreak of resumption of conflict 2016. Then people came with the R-axis, then followed by the Rome Forum, 2019. Then the roadmap, and then now the extension again. So if you go around the circle, you have the budgeting and funding, which have two main constraints, financial constraint. The donors become unhappy that they don't trust the government anymore because money has been misused. And then, of course, you talk about corruption. Then you come to the implementation. Out of these 6 years, only 10%. So if you go by this rate, you will need about 54 years to finish of the 90% which is pending. When you come now to the review, that is really how I understand Tumaini is. It's not an agreement. Tumaini is the review of our arses. So those of us who are here, what we have reviewed is that the whole art groups, those who are in Rome, need to be brought in, those of NAS and others. And then the traditional leaders. If you want to make it bottom up, you have to bring in the chiefs and the kings. And we actually made a concept paper. It only requires recommendation from the mediator so that we can get funding. Then the business community, they are not here. And then the number of women need to be increased. This so-called roundtable, that is the roundtable. If you want to have inclusive roundtable, that's it. If you bring these people on board, that's all. Of course, if you don't want to join in the dance, some of you know that too. when you have a dance in Africa, it's up to you. What do you want to join or you don't want, it's up to you. But that is the drumming. You can come with your own song. You know? So let us look at the timeline now so that you see how this project began. The war broke out on 15th of December for reasons which have been explained. Then it resumed. I mean, the RRC was signed 2015. Then you have the resumption of civil war again, 2016. Then RRC, 12th of September 2018. Then you have the Rome Forum, which took 4 years. And then the roadmap. And then now the Tumaini Initiative 2024, as from the 9th of May 2024. And then the extension. So we have about 2 years to go for the elections, which Asin Lam has talked very well about it. So this is the timeline. But the worry now is that if these elites continue to dominate without the people coming on board, then of course it is likely that we will have another extension. But I hope this time, with the church coming on board and civil society, I think they will not fail this time. And I want to go straight to the progress. That is point number 3. Progress made in the Tumaini. But before that, I want to mention the role of the church, because somebody asked, where is the church? And I think one of the speakers mentioned it, that the church has been thrown in the dustbin simply because of so-called secularism. We who were in Khartoum, I was the General Secretary of SEC in Khartoum. Southerners wanted to pray on the Roman Assembly. And then when we have the CPA, he said, no, we don't need to pray. It's a big contradiction. So if we have failed, it's because we have ignored God, and his principles. That is a fact I want to tell you. If you want to come back to peace, you have to go back to God. I want to mention how the church got involved. The Rome Forum did not come by accident. It was South Sudan Council of Churches which lobbied for it. I think the Vatican hosted 4 of our leaders, top leaders, President Salva Kiir and his vice, and 2 other vice presidents. This was in April 2019. At the end of the retreat, in the Vatican, the Pope kissed the feet of the 4 political leaders, urging them to work for peace through the people of South Sudan, in Latin. But the late Archbishop Paulino Lukudular of Catholic Church, Archdiocese of Juba, actually briefed me that, because he knew Latin, that what the Pope said was very brief. Please bring peace through the people. And then he knelt down to the surprise of everybody, despite his age. I'm sure you have seen the video. Yet, Pope Francis and Archbishop Canterbury, plus the General Moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Scotland, they made a follow-up visit to Juba in February 2023 to find out whether these leaders have really changed. They have not. Some people are asking me now, Bishop, what happened? The Pope has imitated Jesus Christ by washing the feet of disciples. This one even kissed the feet. I say, well, it could have been a blessing if they listened, but since they did not listen, it is a curse. Yes, seriously. You get cursed, because if you disobey, you get the curse. So no change. So the Rome Forum continued between the government delegation in Juba and the non-signatories. I think Emmanuel will talk about these bilateral talks with the group called SOMA, South Sudan Opposition Political Alliance, under the mediation and Egidio community, without much progress from 2019 up to 2023-24. About 4 years, 2023, 4 years. So now this is why now President Salva Kiir probably now thought, instead of waiting for these fruitless efforts of SOMA, he now initiated another peace agreement. It came to Kenya and requested President William Ruto of Kenya to mediate. This was in December 2023. Basically, he wanted to bring the Shoma group, the non-signatory groups, that the peace talks were transferred to Nairobi, Kenya, and that renamed Tumaini Initiative. Tumaini means, those of you who speak Arabic, mean Temanan. Tamani, yani the hope. People are wondering, what is this Tumaini? It's Arabic. It's just the Kiswahili, of course, corrupted it to say Tumaini. Consultation began from 3rd of May, and by the 9th of May, it was launched. But of course, only 3 groups turned up. That's the real SPLM of Pagana Mum, and then SSUF of Paul Malong, and then SSPM stroke A of General Stephen Boy. And then the first group is a faction of NAS. It's called NAS RCC, Revolution Command Council. So the 4 groups. So those are remaining behind, I think probably 4. I mean, another 3. So the launching took place, everybody saw on the TV on the 9th of May. I was invited by the chief mediator, Lieutenant General Lazarus Sombeo, and joined the Tumaini Initiative on the 24th of May, when they've already discussed certain issues. I'm a representative of South Sudan Council of Churches, together with my colleague from South Sudan Islamic Council. Having participated as a member of stakeholders group comprising of representatives of civil society groups, youth, women, PCCA, academia, eminent personnel, South Sudan Islamic Council, diaspora, and persons with special needs, I can state clearly that Tumaini Initiative is system number 4 in the project plan cycle, which I have shown you. From this technical point of view, if a peace agreement is reached through the review process number 4 of RRCs, it does not really matter how you name it. You know, don't read the book from the cover. You go into the content. Some of you have not even seen these protocols from the way you talk. So whether you call it annex or aligned or complement or other or roadmap too, doesn't really matter. What is the content? So I don't need to repeat the rest. I want to go to the progress made in the Tumaini Initiative. Number 1, 8 protocols negotiated by the government delegation and the opposition with the participation of stakeholders, and initial on the 15th of July, 2024. But in response, the SPLM-IO withdrew its members from the government delegation on 16th of July, 2024, due to some reservations. You are talking about confidence building. It's the first protocol actually we produced. I was the chairman together with 2 of my colleagues. Because when you arrive, the chief mediator said there is mistrust between the government and the opposition. What can we do? I said, give us 2 days. So we sat alone as South Sudanese through what they call extra South Sudanese forum. We eventually took 5 days. We produced the first protocol, including matrix. So it doesn't mean that we don't know how to do it. It's just a question of maybe lack of trust, as you put it. By the way, I studied in Oxford, pastoral training in Wycliffe Hall, not very far from where you're talking about. I also did my master's degree in construction in Loughborough University, 1984-85. So we are not blind. Only that people, of course, don't trust each other. Progress number 2, we have another protocol which was negotiated, but not initial, pending return of SPLM-IO members from Juba. Only 1 protocol on inclusive governance, responsibility sharing, remains to be negotiated. This is the one, the problem area. Most of you talk about power sharing and the system of government. This is the protocol still pending to be discussed. So all your proposals you have made, it will be good to put them to that table. But if you talk from outside, you just complain. How will you listen? This program is very good that we can hear you now. And then number 3, implementation matrices for all the protocols have been prepared, ready, and the initial protocols have been revised, taking into account the reservation raised by SPLM-IO. I now go to challenges, my point number 4. The first challenge, of course, withdrawal by SPLM-IO on the 16th of July, and that has caused a delay in the negotiation process from September up to now. That's 2 months. Number two, the government in Juba is divided between supporters and leaders who oppose the Tumaini Initiative due to own personal and political interests, which you have mentioned. Nothing to do with the people. Three, funding of RRC's implementation remain a major constraint due to misappropriation of available funds and limited amount paid by the government below the promised amount of $100 million per annum as per Article 3.2.7 of the RRC. If the government had observed that provision, maybe the international donors would have been encouraged to contribute their funding. Number four, they need to include other whole-earth groups and stakeholders in the Tumaini Initiative, as are shown in the project plan cycle. Now, what is the way forward? I'm giving you way forward point number 5, together with recommendations. SPLM-IO leaders are to review their stand and return to the negotiation table for the sake of the suffering people of South Sudan. 2, the signatory parties to the RRC 2018 are recommended to put public interest for peace rather than personal and party interests. In this way, the Article under President Salva Kiir will be able to demonstrate the integrity of being the initiator of the Tumaini Initiative and thus take the credit for its success. But if he fails, of course, he cannot take the credit. Number 3, the Article has to fulfill its promise of paying $100 million annually for implementation of extended RRCs from 2025 to 2027, including the elections. Then donors will see the commitment for peace and then decide to contribute funds. Number 4, the chief mediator, in collaboration with IGAD and San Egidio, to consider inviting the other whole-earth groups from Rome Forum, plus others, to an alternative forum to Nairobi, because people fear to come to Nairobi because of this insecurity. So, Lazarus Tombe himself said they can select another forum in the world and is ready to fund it. So it's up to you now to decide whether you come to Nairobi or go to another place. If the above recommendation is given consideration by all parties, then there is need to invite representatives of South Sudan business community, traditional leaders, and more women to join the peace process. Number 5, civic education need to be intensified to create awareness on the peace process so that the people of South Sudan get direct information as owners and beneficiaries of the expected outcome, the Tumaini Initiative. In conclusion, South Sudan peace can be achieved by putting public interest above personal and party interests, by involvement of the people at grassroots level, like the Woodley, 1999. Woodley led to CPA. I know it's not documented, but the church has documented it. We had a parallel forum actually in Entebbe because we were locked out by Lazarus Tombe. I told him this time. I said, if you are now failed, just hand the process to us. He said, hold your horses. After that, I'm holding the horses. That means the churches. The SEC in Juba, the AICC in Nairobi, the World Council of Churches in Geneva. These are the horses. They are ready. Number 2, the people of South Sudan have suffered enough in the hands of their own leaders, in the government and opposition, armed or unarmed, including NAS, by the way, since 15th of December 2013. Let us create a conducive environment to choose their leaders during coming elections as rescheduled on 22nd of December 2026. Number 3, let us continue to pray to God to bless the peacemakers in South Sudan, the region, and the international community, so that they will continue to work for peace in South Sudan. Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, and Ephesians chapter 6, 10 to 18. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for an enlightening talk. So we would like to thank you, Your Grace, for your presentation. And perhaps we can clap once more.
You're most welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.